Today, we are going to decide to change the narrative of our lives. So come on in here and let's chat. So guess what, y'all? We are going to change the narrative of our lives, and we do have the power to do that. So I'm going to give you some tips on how you can change the narrative and the trajectory of your own life. So let's get started. Okay, so for years, I'm sure you've done it, I've done it, we've all been guilty of this thing. And what am I about to say? I'm saying the story that we've been telling ourselves. How many of us in the comments, and let's be real, how many of us have told the same sad story of brokenness? Yes, we've had brokenness in our childhood, brokenness in our relationships, brokenness on the job, brokenness in our family dynamics. We have been the black sheep. We've been isolated. We have been abused. We've been victimized. We've gone through. That's right. We have. But how many of us are ready to change the narrative? And that just means that we are going to choose to live out our lives the way that we now see ourselves. Not how we used to be, not what we've experienced in the past, not what we have felt about someone or about what someone has done to us, but we're going to take our power back and change the narrative of our lives. So, in order to do that, we have to start getting real. How many of us been telling this story? And the story has been brokenness, and it's been a pattern of vicious cycles, cycles that have been repeated, familiar, things that we've attracted because we haven't healed, right? We have told this story over and over and over again where it's redundant now, where we're tired of hearing our own selves talk about the same mess over and over and over again. Yes, this person did this to me. Yes, that person did this to me. Yes, I was in a relationship with this person and this is how they turned out and this is what happened. No. We have to stop allowing other things and experiences to dictate or translate the way that we see ourselves in the direction we desire. We have the power to change the trajectory of our lives. That is stopping and turning and deciding to go a different way. It is creating a new path. It is walking to the beat of your own drum. It's creating your own destiny. And we have the power to choose. We should not allow anyone to choose for us. So we need to just get real today about the things that we've been doing that has been attracting experiences, people, things into our lives. So how many of us can be authentic and be accountable to the things that we have attracted, the things that we have created, right? By the power of our word, or by our actions, or by the residue in our lives, or by the brokenness, or by the sad story, or by the pity party. Come on, let's keep it real. We continue to attract people, places, things because we are broken, and that is why they are attracted to us, because there is either some brokenness that hasn't been healed, or because we have been an empath, and they also see that too. And because we have been an empath, that is why some people can take advantage. And because we are an empath, sometimes it's because of our, not just our vulnerability, but because of our victim mentality, that victimization that we've experienced, that trauma that we've experienced in our lives. And that's what causes us to be an empath. Ooh. All right, so we're going to scratch that. It's not because we don't care about people anymore, but we have to practice self-love on a daily basis, right? We have to really start to give back to ourselves, mind, body, and spirit. So how many of you down? How many of you ready for this new level of dispensation, new level of elevation, new level of cultivation, new level of transformation? I know that is you, because that's me too. It's time to get to the all right. So in order for us to grow and get to the next level and change the trajectory of our lives and create a new narrative, you have to first think about who you desire to be. Who do you desire to see and be when you look at yourself inside, inwardly? Who do you desire to be? That's the first thing, right? You have to have a clear perception and clear perspective about who you are. You have to know yourself and who you desire to be. And once you have that vision for your own self, your person, yourself, then you begin to shape and mold other relationships that are outside of yourself, but you always have to start with you. So the first thing is, who do I desire to be? When I look into myself, what do I see? Who do I desire to be? When I look at myself, what do I see? Do you see now someone that is whole, healthy, mind, body, and spirit? Doesn't matter what your circumstances say. It doesn't matter if you're, in some mess right now. It doesn't matter if you don't have all of your plans in place. It doesn't matter if, you're not where you need to be. You're not making the money that you desire. You're not doing your purpose work. You're not doing this, that, and the other. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's what you see, what you envision right now for yourself. It starts there. It doesn't all have to happen at once, but you have to see it for yourself in order for you to bring it to full manifestation. You got to see it. So think about it, and let's go on to the next thing. You have to see yourself for who you desire to be. And then when you see yourself for who you desire to be, you will then raise your level of awareness. You will raise your level of respect and honor. You will raise your level of self-love and self-care. You will raise your standard and your expectation for other people to meet you where you are. And so many times we come down and we mistaken that for humility. But no, we come down and we meet people where they are on a lower level, a lower vibration, and then we have all types of chaos and confusion in our lives because we have allowed ourselves, the knowing of who we are, to come down to meet someone else instead of challenge them and encourage them and motivate them for us to meet together at a place of health, wealth, and positivity, right? So we have to, again, change the narrative, and the narrative will allow us to tell a different story. So the story that we've been telling ourselves and we've been telling other people, that has been that dispensation. But now where we're going in our lives and the things that we desire now and the things that we desire to create, desire to be, the things that we desire to attract, the things that we want in our lives, we have to now change the story that we've been sharing with our families, our friends, the people that we've been in relationships with. We have to now keep it real with ourselves and say, you know what? I was a mess. I was selfish. I was prideful. I was full of ego. I was broken. I needed healing. I was angry. I was bitter. I had issues. I was a little crazy. I had a lot going on. But now I am whole. I'm sound. I walk in power, love, and a sound mind. And when you really have reached that place of, I would say, wholeness that is when you then can see other people with a level of transparency, and you can see them for who they are and how they're going to add to your life. You're going to also understand why they need to be in your life, why not should they be in your life, why they shouldn't be in your life, or you'll begin to really identify and I should say identify and discern who should be in your life, for what reason, and when. All right, so that is so many things that come with getting to know yourself, changing the narrative about yourself, understanding now who you are, what your expectations are, understanding now what you desire and what you're willing to change in order to get to the place in your life that you desire to be. So we're telling a different story about ourselves. We're not going to continue to relate to the things that we have experienced in our past that brought us pain and suffering and discomfort and dis-ease and all of those things. Yes, those things were a reality, but they are not our outcomes. They are not something that we should dwell upon. That's something that we should make peace with, release, and move on. Reconcile those things so that you can move on to something bigger and better and brighter for your life. So that is changing the narrative. So when we change the narrative, people will no longer come up to you and say, hey girl, remember when we used to do this and do that? Or remember when you were this way? Or you used to trip when people said this about you, or blah, 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 blah. Or, sometimes your past creep up and your old boos call you, or they have these conversations with you and try to remind you of the way that you responded to them then, or the things you used to do then. No. Now we're not going there now. That's a part of my past. And if you can't experience this dispensation of me now, then we could just keep it moving. And that is how you have to do things, unapologetic, because your healing and your wholeness is top priority above all. As I said in my last video, or either I said on a post, above all, God desires for us to prosper and be in health, even as our soul prospers. So He wants us healthy, wealthy, wise. He wants us strengthened. He wants us encouraged. He wants us to advance, to cultivate, to continue to develop, right? So we can't do that if we're stuck in the past, constantly repeating the same patterns and cycles and familiarities from people that constantly come into our lives, bringing confusion and chaos and every evil work. We have to cancel it as soon as we see it. Don't give it time to marinate. Don't give it time to take root in our lives anymore. That is something that we have no room, no time for. When you're changing the narrative of your life, those familiar spirits and those familiar people and those familiar experiences and places and people and things has no room for the new you. And you have to be unapologetic. If they can't meet you where you are today, and they can't celebrate and honor the woman that you are, or the man that you are, and who you have worked so hard to become, they have no room in your life today. So I want you to change the narrative of your life. And yes, we are still talking about the capacity to love, and that is self-love, self-care, awareness. That is knowing thyself, loving thyself, and we have to start with us before we can disperse, release, I should say, that love to someone else, and even more to expect that type of love from someone else if we are not first starting with ourselves. So we're going to change the narrative of our lives so that we can begin to live again, love again, be whole, right? And have a new perspective about who we are, what we desire, and where we need to be. All right. So let me hear in the comments what your takeaway was with this message. And I'm going to come back again to talk to you more about the capacity to love. All right. Make sure you like, comment, tag your friends, and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you next time. Be well.